وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع. His eyes slowly rising, sunrise warms the horizon, sand dunes form in the distance, he's up and out in an instant. The crowd, they all were waiting, watching and anticipating. A man appears from afar, could it be the one sent by Allah? He shouts, here comes the prophet, his face is a light that drives out the darkness. Words are alive, his message is living, joy everywhere, our voices.
Assalamu alaikum. Today is the 30th of August, and you are listening to the Y Factor at 87.6 FM.
That's right. We're back after Ramadan to our usual spot on Thursday after Maghrib. And we're delighted to actually get back in touch with the listeners. It's been a while with the Ramadan schedule ups and downs. But this week, what we thought we might do is, in solidarity with the Emo High School students, I shouldn't call them children, that's highly offensive, that are going through HSC exams at the moment, what we thought we might do is actually bring some high school students on to speak about their HSC experience, so that, you know, our listeners who are going through the same struggles can actually relate to them.
And we also have a special guest in to talk about her experiences about changing degrees, and just to show you there is life after school, and there is life after 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees.
That's right. So the aim of the episode, inshallah, is to give a blicker of hope to the HSC students, and also let them know that there are a lot of pathways that are possible for them after the HSC. So we won't have our usual news segment for this week. As we said, it's a special feature for the HSC students. We also have a special announcement in the middle of the show with prize giveaways. So stay tuned. The middle of the show, prize giveaways for 5 questions. They're double passes to the MEF Eid Festival. So stay tuned. You're listening to the Y Factor on 87.6 FM.
Social expectation drowns us all inside. What you have should be what I want, 'cause what I have just ain't alright. The clothes I wear, the way I comb my hair, how I live, oh, I don't care. This is who I am, this is me. Nothing, everything, can't you see who I am? Just let me be, 'cause like it or not, but God loves me, who I am.
Joining us in the studio today, we have 3 special guests who are all HSC students this year. So, from Sydney Boys High School, which is a selective school, we have Adil Ansareen and Joshua Faiz. And from Cheltenham Girls, we have Sharafa Mohammed. And they're all Year 12 students, as I said. Welcome to the studio, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
So how did you actually get released from your study duties to come here to the studio today?
Well, trials are over, so there's not much study going on.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. I'm kind of chilling right now, and my mom's telling me to get back into it. It's taking a little bit of time, but...
Well, you're lucky you're not at Malik Fahad, because I think they're in their second set of trials, so...
I feel sorry for them. One's more than enough.
Yeah.
Why do they have 2 trials?
Let's not get into Malik Fahad.
Okay, yes, let's avoid those topics,
We are here to talk about the HSC, inshallah, right?
Yeah.
So you're all current HSC students attending public schools, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to know, what does it actually feel like as a young person going through the HSC this year?
Well, a lot of people see it as being stressful and whatnot, you know, you have to get into uni and all that stuff. But for me, it hasn't been very stressful for me. I think if you're prepared well and you manage your time well, it's manageable. So I'm not too stressed, but a lot of my peers, they're stressing out, cramming, all-nighters. But I'm finding it all right.
Josh, you look pretty stressful over there. How do you find the HSC?
I'm not too stressful myself. As Adil said, yeah, if you just manage your time well and you're organised with your study, then it's not too much of a big deal. You just need when you study, you need to be efficient and not waste time. And
Easier said than done.
Yeah,
I know that sounds
obviously
pretty rehearsed, Josh.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about your preparation techniques? So for other HSC students that might be going through what you're going through, what would your advice be about preparation for the HSC?
In my opinion, the best way to prepare is to, after you've learned all the material, obviously, is to just like bounce through 500,000 past papers, like trials, or just past HSC papers or whatnot. Yeah, if you do trial papers, the thing is that you're not only are you practicing, you're getting used to the exam style, and also like the format of the exam, and in that way, like once you sit the actual exam, like you won't be as afraid in one way.
Okay, so preparation is key, is what you're saying.
Past papers is key. Past papers, there's nothing better than past papers. Like exam style questions, if you do past papers, you'll do well. The more past papers you do, the better you do.
Yeah.
And
Simple as that.
how about tutoring? So which of you guys get tutoring? Because it seems like nowadays pretty much all the kids at school get tutoring. And so if you do get tutoring, do you think it gives you a huge advantage or not really?
Oh, definitely. Especially when you have teachers who are not so good. Tutoring is the biggest boost you can get. I do it for maths and English, and it has helped me like so much.
I don't think it helps. Oh, it can help, but I don't think you need it at all. Like, I'm a bit of an outcast at school. I don't go tutoring. Right? It's a bit weird, but I think it's actually helped me do better. I've learned to study independently, and often when you learn things yourself, you understand it far better than if someone just taught it to you. Right?
But I don't think getting tutoring means that you don't study independently. I think, you get tutoring helps you, but you still need to put in your individual work.
So what you're saying is tutoring kind of reinforces the things that you learn at school. So it's kind of like an extra preparation step.
Basically, yeah.
I think you should be
Well,
able
the thing
to
is,
prepare yourself.
well, if you have a look, like for example, in my school, mine and Idle school, like the very top students, and we're talking like the top 5 or so, none of them go tutoring. The thing is with tutoring, like it's good to have a sort of guide along the way, but when it comes to like learning the material, then most people can do it themselves. Yeah, I go tutoring for maths, and for the most part, I don't really learn maths there. It's just I have this amazing teacher, and all he does is just tell us just stories about random things. And
So that doesn't sound like tutoring. That sounds like life coaching.
Yeah, sort of. Exactly. That's what it is.
That's what they call it.
That's what they call it.
Life
but
tutoring.
it's disguised as maths tutoring for this guy.
Okay, so Sharifa, you actually attend tutoring and you feel like you actually benefit from the actual methods as opposed to just the inspirational talks and lectures given.
Yep.
Why do you feel that it benefits you?
I think, like, particularly for me, my math teacher's just unreliable, and she doesn't really give us many resources, and I find tutoring, particularly for maths, my English tutor is a little bit hopeless, but my maths tutoring centre gives us exam-style questions, and that's really important because, I can go through all the past papers, but having exam-style questions that teachers can go through with us is, it's priceless for me.
I think the internet age is here. You've got many videos explaining things like Khan Academy, on YouTube, people like Patrick JMT going through everything you could think about, they're going through it. And there's so many resources available now online, past papers with full worked solutions. So there's really no need for you to pay, however much it is. I think I've saved about $10,000 not going tutoring.
You've saved or your parents?
Oh, my parents have saved. I knew one student who spent $315 per week, still does, for tutoring for all the subjects. And if you do the maths, that's something like $30,000 in 2 years, which is just spent when you could have saved it.
But do you feel like as young HSC students yourselves, is there a pressure to go to tutoring? As you said, you're a social outcast for not going. Is that the trend? And it's interesting because you're in a, Sharifa isn't, but you guys are at a selective school. Even in selective schools, there's a pressure to go tutoring?
Well,
There's
definitely
probably more of a pressure.
Yeah. Well, definitely in our school, there's a very enormous pressure to go tutoring because pretty much everybody goes. And if you don't go, then you're seen to have fallen behind in some ways. And actually our school principal has a couple of very strong things to say to this because he's totally against tutoring, and he says at school you get quality teaching. Well, at our school at least, but
that's the key word, quality teaching. If
it's not everywhere, yeah,
you
exactly.
don't need tutoring, but
But as Adil was saying, you can find these resources at other places, on the internet.
But Sharifa, did you hear the disclaimer? He said, at our school, we
yes,
get
I know,
quality.
I heard that.
Do you agree with such sentiments? I mean, going to your high school, do you feel often people say, if you're not at a private high school or a selective high school, that you're missing out. Do you feel like that you're missing out?
I don't feel it at all. Personally, with most of my subjects, the teachers have been very dedicated, and they've provided us with good educational resources and everything. So I don't personally feel disadvantaged.
Do you feel, this is to the three of you, do you feel achievement is something personal? So whether you be at a public school, private school, or a selective school, it's about your personal work ethic that you develop that gets you somewhere? Or do you think it's actually the environment, the school, that has the greatest impact on what you achieve at the end of the day?
Both have a big impact. When I came to my school, I wasn't studying much, and I was in the bottom 30. But all my friends, they would study, and then eventually it just rubbed off on me, and then I started studying as well. I think both have a massive impact. Like, if you see someone just going to, I don't know, Punchbowl Boys or something, most of the people there aren't studying, so it's just a bad environment.
Yeah.
I mean, but then Punchbowl Boys still has people that get in their high 90s.
But they're outliers.
Yeah.
And as opposed to your school being...
Where it's the norm to
it's
get like
the norm.
95 plus, right? If you get under 95, you're a definite social
Yeah,
up.
definitely. Well, those people in Punchbowl Boys, they have their own work ethic, and I'm pretty sure they don't get most of their influence from their school. They have their own, like, teachers or whatnot, like their parents maybe, like, that are pushing them on to do well. But at our school, like Adil said, like, the whole environment of study, like, everybody studies, everybody wants to do medicine or law, so you feel that pressure rubbing onto you, and you sort of have this urge to follow along. And that's what happened with me, like, in the last 3 years of high school, and I've started doing better.
But do you feel like that whole pressure to always study and, as you said, do medicine or law kind of...
It's constraining.
It's constraining. So do you have friends, for example, in your cohort that want to do a Bachelor of Fine Arts or want to do, I don't know, singing or...
I think there's 0 students who want to do that sort of stuff.
And is that something healthy? I mean, do you attribute, you know, more weight to something such as law or medicine rather than another discipline?
Yeah, well, for
I
me...
think this is where selective schools kind of fail, because our school is very like public schools are very balanced, and they encourage you to really go for what you are good at, what you enjoy. And, you know, I think in a selective school, some people may feel pressured to go for a particular career path or, you know, aim for a particular goal just because everyone's doing it. But, you know, when you go to a public school where you've got people who are aiming for the top and aiming for certain career paths, and you've got people who are aiming for completely different directions, it allows you to find yourself and really go for what you want to do.
And do you feel like you're supported in making that decision? So say, for example, you wanted to do fine arts. Do you feel like at a public school you're given that boost to do what you like without feeling ostracised?
Definitely, because there are kids in the school that do, you know, from A to Z, that do every sort of, that want to do every sort of career and every sort of degree that's out there, so you feel like you can do what you really want to do.
Yeah, and I mean, you said before that you do food technology, right?
Yes.
I mean, is that something that would be possible at Sydney Boys?
Not at our school, no.
We'd want it to be. Well, I'd want it to be. It's like, thing is, at Sydney Boys, what she's saying is correct, that, like, we're pressured to, like, only aim for the higher things, like, and that sort of, like, makes us, like, sort of narrow-minded about, like, our career possibilities. If it's not law or medicine, then you're just a failure in life. Like, that's what most people think.
It's sort of just like a social thing. The teachers, the school, they're very they allow you to do whatever you want. We do have a few students who are doing drama. Someone wants to be an actor. We do have them. It's just not common. I mean, if you want to do it, you can.
But do you feel like that's more because you come from, for example, ethnic backgrounds?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
I think it's more from the parents, not from the school.
Okay, so can you tell me a bit
medicine.
more about this? So, as a young person who, for example, you're in year 12 now, right? Do you feel like there's immense family and social pressure, especially as someone who comes from a migrant background, to do either medicine or?
Alhamdulillah, for me, not really, but for others, yes, there is, for some of them.
Yes,
Well,
same here. Like, I come from migrant background as well, but my pressure has been personal pressure, not my family pressure. So, alhamdulillah, my parents have been good as well.
Okay, I know you're all giving disclaimers on air, so that way when you go home, your parents are like,
No, honestly.
maybe. No, but seriously, I mean, look at your friends and your people from, you know, migrant backgrounds. Do you feel like they actually feel like, for example, if they wanted to do, you know, singing, acting, or fine arts, that their parents would just look at them and say, "We've lost all hope in you"?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
See, at my school, I've got, like, migrant backgrounds who, like, students from, like, you know, migrant backgrounds who have parents like that. But I've also got students who've got parents who are not like that. Like, going to a public school, that's what you get. But I understand that going to selective school, the parents really drive in the message that you really need to do well and you need to get the top marks and you need to go into really high courses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some people have said that a problem with selective schools is it kind of like, you know, you only socialise with people who are all from the same sort of like perspective or want to do the same thing. You all go to the same tutoring colleges and that only continues to uni because you all do the same degrees and it forms this sort of like boys club or girls club, if whatever the case may be, which is really exclusive. I mean, what do you guys think of that?
Well, I'd have to agree with that because on the bus and stuff, like on the way back home, you see students from other schools and you see they're completely different to you. Like
you see them as a separate species that you can't interact with?
Well, yeah, I did before, but the thing is, like, like you just come to realize, like, there are people like that. and you can't like view the world through like.
There are people like that.
So was it
Like
really-
when people like that, I mean there are people with different interests. Like I don't mean it like that. I mean it as in like there are people with these interests, and even though we're forced to have be pressured into certain like, there are other people who definitely have these interests.
What are you trying to say here,
I'm
Josh?
trying to say that.
Okay, you used the word force, which is a pretty
Strong word.
laden and strong
Yeah,
word.
yeah.
Who is doing the forcing? Is it
Your friends and your
friends,
Parents,
family?
family.
I guess it's maybe a combination of all
Yeah.
the sort of influences in your life.
So do you feel at this age, I mean, when you're kind of, how old are you guys, 17, 18,
17, yes.
17, 18, when you're going through that stage, you're still trying to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. Do you ever feel like this immense pressure from your family, from society, from the community is so much that you just feel like saying, leave me alone, like I just want to make my own decisions? Or do you feel like you like that pressure because it's guiding you along, you know, what path you should take in life?
I don't feel there is much of a pressure for me.
Me
at least.
too. I actually don't feel much pressure from my family or community to do a particular thing. I feel like, you know, we can choose. I honestly feel like we can choose what we want to do, and there's no problem with that. So.
But is there a pressure to succeed?
Oh, definitely. Like, there's a pressure to, like, you know, whatever you choose, there's a pressure to, like, stick with it and, you know, achieve and be successful in that field. But because, like, coming from a migrant background, I think, you know, most people have, you know, a good work ethic and
that's not negative.
Exactly.
I mean, that desire to achieve and excel in the field that you're doing is not necessarily negative. But I guess when it comes to the stage where you feel like it cripples you, that you have no other options, that's when it can border on negativity. So guys, can you share with us your study habits? So I just want to compare to see if they're kind of different. So you guys just, the boys from Sydney Boys, you just finished your trials.
Yeah.
Now, with preparations for the trials, do the teachers leave it up to you guys to do your own preps? Do you go through it in class?
Form study groups maybe, or
It
study on
depends
your
on the
own?
teacher.
It depends on the teacher really.
Like different teachers do different things,
Yeah.
but usually before trials have just finished the content, there's not much time, so it's really up to you. And like we said before, past papers are the key. That's what everyone does. You just keep doing past papers.
You see, past papers, they give you a lot of practice, but the thing is, practice doesn't make perfect. It makes permanent, which is like, you don't forget the easy stuff, which
Did
is...
you learn that at your tutoring life coaching class?
No, I learned it somewhere else, but yeah, it's good advice. Like, if you don't do past papers and you just, like, try to learn the material and go over notes, you sort of forget how to do the easy stuff. And that sort of hits you hard when you're doing your exam. You lose loads of marks, like, in stupid things that you could have otherwise gotten right easily. So yeah, when I said practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. What does make perfect are the right methods. And thing is, most teachers don't have the right methods. When it comes to like, the teachers have teachers can't give you like the highest mark. You have to sort of find that out for yourself. Like what works for you. By the right method, I mean like.
So for
How you
example,
study.
take an essay.
Yeah.
You're saying it's about developing the skills in like writing skills, critical analysis, rather than, for example, memorizing and regurgitating.
Don't ask us about
Don't-
English.
Well, thing is, for HSC English, memorizing works, which is the problem.
Okay,
And-
Sharfa disagrees. Sharfa, what would you like to say about this?
Oh, are you guys finished?
No,
No, you continue.
Like, it works. Like, I think Sydney Boys became third in English last year, and I'd say about 90% of people memorize. Right? Just memorize an essay and then just adapt it to the question.
And what would you do if the question, because I remember when we were doing the HSC, usually we'd prepare 2 or 3 related texts, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, although I went to a public school and we were highly discouraged from even memorizing or mentioning the M word. It was just not allowed at all. And if you submitted 2 essays that kind of had the same intro, you'd get slammed, right? But when we went into the HSC, the markers that year told you to only use 1 related text. So anyone who had a prepared essay, you couldn't use the themes that you extrapolated from the 3 related texts. So you're kind of, in big trouble. What would you do if that happened?
With relateds, you can prepare 1 or 2, and then depending on the day, you'll just write your first related memorized piece, and then if you need the second one, you write it as well.
Yeah.
Sharfa's shaking her head.
No, I just think it's dangerous because, like, in last year's HSC, they did, like, throw curveballs. Like, for example, one of the modules in English, they specified, a particular speech, and people who do speeches will know that completely threw people who memorize their essays. So I just think with English, especially, it's dangerous to memorize essays, but definitely you have to memorize, like not memorize, but understand how to formulate your own arguments and really just do practice papers, give it into teachers, and I think that's how you succeed in English.
Okay, now let's take it sort of beyond high school. So you guys are sort of at the cusp of adulthood, as they would say. And do you guys have a clear idea of what you want to do after school, or are you sort of going to wait till your results come out?
We're not entirely sure yet, but we have general ideas of where we want to go. Some people change their minds quite a lot. And like you guys were saying, like some people change their minds into the degree, like first or second year. So for me, I'm heading towards like an engineering career, inshallah, I think. But I'm not entirely sure.
And how about you, Adil? What do you want to get into?
Well, like if you asked me 3 months ago, I'd be saying I want to do psychology. Like a couple months ago, I'd said I'll do commerce liberal studies. Now I want to do computer science. So,
how about you,
not sure.
Shilpa? What were you thinking of getting into?
I hope to do like a law and social science or law and social inquiry degree as my first preference.
And me and Zainab are nodding profusely because we agree totally. No, but guys, seriously, with these degrees, does your school give you the opportunity to actually test it out or do work experience in these fields? Or are you doing it based on, I think I would like this basis?
Our school has like seminars, unis come in and give information about each degrees, and of course there's the open days. There's no work experience type thing, but we do know what the degree, like a lot about the degrees. Like we always get people coming in. Just like last week, there was people from Unistar came talk about computer science and all that stuff. So.
But do you feel like they're trying to lead you in a particular direction? Or like, do you feel like all your, cohort are going to go, or half of them are going to go do commerce at UNSW, and so you kind of feel like maybe I should go along with that as well?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. I think there's a pressure to follow anyone else from your school.
Like a lot of people, it's kind of weird because the first preference is medicine, then second preference is dentistry, third preference is commerce law, so I don't see how it all fits in. So definitely some people succumb to that pressure. They either want to do medicine or law, and beyond the third one, they don't have any options, which is ridiculous in my opinion.
Okay, leaving uni aside, do you actually have many friends at school that, for example, want to go to TAFE or college or not even pursue the tertiary education level?
I'm pretty sure
don't know
everybody wants
anyone.
to do university. Pretty sure everybody wants to go.
Sharpa, do you know anyone in your cohort that doesn't actually want to go on to tertiary education?
No, I like mostly everyone wants to go to university, but there are still kids who will do TAFE, and like I think a majority want to go into university, but there are students who go to do TAFE.
And now, just as a final wrap up to this segment, a lot of the times people speak, adults speak down to year 12s, give them advice, tell them this is how we did it, this is how you should do it, this is a career path and things like that. We wanted you guys to have the platform to actually talk about, your sentiments, your feelings, and what you want to tell everybody else. So this is a free-for-all platform. You can basically say what you like within reasonable limits. So seriously, as young people, what would you like to say to the community during these stressful, hard times that you're going through, or in Adil's case, non-stressful times you're going through?
I'd say follow your passion. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's true. I mean, at school you see a lot of people who love doing maths, economics. They're the ones who are excelling, doing the best. Same thing in your career. Do what you like doing, and chances are you'll do well in it.
But what's your advice to someone who hasn't actually found a passion, who, swings between degrees, overnight?
Much like yourself.
Explore till you find out.
Josh, what would you like to say?
Well, I don't see how people don't have certain interests. Like, if you just, give thought about, who you are, then obviously you'll see that you have certain interests in certain things. And if you have, a certain zeal for something, then obviously you're going to want to follow that. Like, some people are really into maths and they want to do maths, something with maths in it. So, it doesn't have to be very narrow. You can always, say if you like maths, you can go to engineering or medicine or many other things. But I would say what Adil said, you have to follow your passions. You have to do what you think would be best for you, because people have told me, some people say, certain degrees, you don't earn much money, even though you like it a lot. But the thing is, if you just do what you like, then obviously you'll be successful at it, because you'll do good at it, because you like it. I just went around in a circle then. But yeah.
Have you considered doing philosophy?
Yes, I have. Actually, I'm very interested in philosophy. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, what am I going to do with philosophy in my with it in my life, except know about it? So yeah, that's what it boils down to. You have to think about where
it will lead you.
It'll lead you. If you just do it for the knowledge, then that's cool. That's fine. If you Just want to do that.
All right, Shansha, what's your advice?
Is my advice to Year 12 students?
Yep.
I don't know. I guess since HSC is coming up, it's important to get back into the swing of things and stay organised. Don't leave things to the last minute. Advice goes to myself first and foremost. And yeah, I think just reinforce what everyone else said. Like when you're deciding your uni preferences, remember to think about yourself first because you're the one who's going to put in the hard work. So do something that you enjoy.
And what would your advice be to your parents if you really can't tell them in the living room? Now we're giving you space on air to tell them what you want to tell them. What would your comments be to your parents?
You're doing fine.
Yeah, same here. They haven't been very pressuring at all. My mum's like, you know what? If you're happy with your mark, I'm happy. I just want you to be happy. So.
Joshua, is that the case with you also?
Oh, not really. I would just tell my parents and all Bengali parents in general that there are courses beyond medicine in life. Like, especially in Australia, you can go into philosophy, things like that. Yeah.
That was very enlightening. Thanks, Josh.
All right, guys. We were honestly really delighted to have you on the show to speak about and at this crucial moment in your life. So maybe what we can do is have a catch-up episode with you guys after you finish your HSC. You've received your, university, spaces, and you can come in and tell us how the journey was and how you survived, and give some advice to the young ones going through.
Yeah, sure.
Inshallah, it would be nice on the other side.
All right, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much once again, and lovely having you guys in the studio today.
Thanks for having us.
That she said they all did what's expected of them all. To get to the top don't matter if somebody's gotta fall. You gotta brace the storm, the norms to conform. Get what you want's gonna kill us all. This is who I am, this is me. Nothing, everything, can't you see who I am? Just let me be. Cause like it or not, but God loves me. Who I am, who I am.
Welcome back from the break, guys. Joining me on the telephone is Mobina Ahmed, who is an executive member of MEF, the Multicultural Eid Festival and Fair. Welcome to the show, Mobina. Wa alaikum assalam. Now, the MEF Eid Festival is actually this weekend, the 2nd of September. Now, this is a spectacular event. It is unprecedented, and it's actually one of the most organised and large-scale Islamic events in the community. So, Mobina, would you like to tell us a bit about the history of MEF, please?
Sure. MEF started in about 1985, and this is our 28th festival. So we've been running for the past 28 years. So we're the largest running festival. Basically, we just wanted to give the community, a chance to celebrate Eid with their family and friends in a really large scale.
Okay, so the aims and objectives of the MEF Festival are to celebrate that festive spirit of Eid with the community, with the family. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And not only that, but we also wanted to celebrate, Australia's multiculturalism and the diversity within the Muslim community. We welcome, Muslims and non-Muslims from all different cultures and things like that. So, yeah.
Often at the Eid festivals, Mobina, you have spectacular displays, sometimes cultural dances and performances and things like that. This year, what should we be expecting?
This year we've got something really amazing. As part of our cultural program, we have Indonesian dancers, Malaysian martial art performers, Bosnian dancers, a Peruvian band, a multicultural fashion dance, Arabic singers, Indian singers, Malaysian singers, schools, HSC High Achievers Awards. We also have an amazing showground entertainment that has been set up, including Dora the Explorer, who will be coming from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. We have still walkers, fire breathers. We have Vietnamese dragon and lion dance night show that's going to be happening. We just have so many things on this year. It's going to be bigger than ever. We've got VIPs like Amina El Shafi, top 12 contestant in MasterChef, coming for a meet and greet, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Yeah, you name it, we've got it.
Maybe that sounds
bigger and better every year.
It does honestly sound pretty amazing. Now, in terms of the stall, usually there's heaps of clothes, jewellery, food stalls. Should we be expecting the same this year?
Definitely. We have about over 130 stalls selling traditional, sumptuous sumptuous food, clothing, jewellery, Islamic books, toys, show bags, heaps and heaps of stuff.
And Mabina, if we have non-Muslims friends, would you actually encourage us to bring them along with us?
Definitely. We should encourage your non-Muslim friends to come because you can show them how Muslims celebrate Eid on such a big scale and it's such a beautiful occasion that we should be very proud of. So definitely bring your friends and your non-Muslim friends and your parents and your family and make it a whole day to remember.
And speaking of festivities, Mabina, there will be fireworks also this year?
Yes, there are fireworks at the very end at about 6:45 p.m.
Okay, now can we just get the details of the venue, please?
Yep, so the festival is at Fairfield Showground on Smithfield Road, Prairiewood. There are free shuttle buses from Fairfield Station, so we encourage people to come by train. There is free parking, but because we have tens of thousands of people coming, parking gets filled up quite quickly. So best to come by train and bus. And,
And the hours would be between 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. That will be the opening hours. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, Mabina, last year, how many did you actually, did you do a head count?
Yep, so last year we had about 25,000 people come. And we get usually between 25,000 to 30,000 people each year.
Oh, mashallah, that sounds pretty amazing. So our advice to the listeners is get in early and get in quick. So that was Mabina.
One thing, you can buy your tickets online as well. If you go to our website, you can buy your tickets online so that you don't have to wait in the long queues on MEF Day. You get a fast, instant access into the festival.
Can I just get their website address?
Yeah, our website is www.meff.com.au.
So that was meff.com.au, and that was Mabina Ahmed, an executive member of the MEF team. Thank you so much for your time, Mabina.
Thank you very much.
The Y Factor.
Some exciting news for our listeners. The MEF team has been kind enough to donate 5 double passes. That's 5 free double passes to the MEF festival this weekend. So that's the 2nd of September. Now, inshallah, the Y Factor team will be giving away these double passes to those who can answer these questions. So listen up, grab your pens and write these answers down. The first person to send us an email to yfactor@live.com.au. So that's yfactor@live.com.au, or Facebook us the answer to our group, which is the Y Factor 87.6 FM, the Y Factor 87.6 FM. You will be the lucky winner of a double pass to this year's MEF Eid Festival, which is the 2nd of September at Fairfield Showground. So these are the questions. The first one says, name the 10 people promised paradise by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ during his lifetime. Name the 10 people who were promised paradise by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ during his lifetime. Question number 2. Which blood type do mosquitoes favour the most? Which blood type do mosquitoes favour the most? Number 3. Quote the ayah which mentions the names of more than 4 prophets in the one ayah. Name the ayah which mentions the names of more than 4 prophets in the same ayah. Number 4 is, where do the 2 branches of the Nile meet? And number 5, what were the names of the Prophet's children? What were the names of the Prophet's children? One last time. Question 1, who were the 10 people promised paradise during the Prophet's lifetime? Number 2, which blood type do mosquitoes favor the most? Number 3, which ayah mentions the names of more than 4 prophets in the same ayah? Number 4, where do the 2 branches of the Nile meet? Number 4, where do the 2 branches of the Nile meet? And finally, number 5, name the names of all the Prophet's children. So name the names of all Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's children. If you know the answer to these questions, you can shoot us an email to yfactor@live.com.au or Facebook us at the Y Factor 87.6 FM. And the first winner will win a double pass to MEF Eid Festival, and there's 5 of them being giveaway. And thank you to the MEF team for their generosity.
Let us rejoice indeed. This is the day of Eid. Let us rejoice indeed. For this is the day of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Alayhi salatullah, alayhi salatullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Alayhi salatullah, alayhi salatullah.
back from the break, guys. You're listening to the Y Factor on 87.6 FM. Now, just before this, we were speaking to a couple of HSC students about the pressures of the HSC, what it means for them, and their hopes and aspirations once they actually finish the HSC. But a lot of the times, and you only realise this once you've actually finished the HSC, you realise the HSC isn't actually the end of the world. And a lot of the times you really don't know what you want to do with your life until maybe a year or two after the HSC.
Or maybe not even then.
That's right, because you still, have, young life crisis, as we call it. So there are a lot of times in your life, especially around the 20s mark, where you start actually questioning, do I actually do, like, the profession I'm studying in or working in, is this what I really want to do? And you kind of reassess where your life is going and decide to change pathways. So what we decided to do today was bring in a guest, and also we have Zainab, our host, who also will share her experience with us, about what it means to actually change a pathway once you've actually begun the pathway. So joining us in the studio today is Simin Shamim. She completed a Bachelor of Nursing at UTS after she actually graduated from that. And anyone who's at uni knows what it means, like, to graduate from, a bachelor. It's like giving birth or something. After she graduated from this bachelor, she's actually undertook a Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery at UWS, and she's actually currently in her last year. Welcome to the show, Simin.
Thank you for having me on the show.
No worries. Jazakallah khair for coming in. Now, Zainab, as some of you might not know, she's currently undertaking a Bachelor of Law and Social Inquiry at UTS. However, before this, she actually did a whole year of medicine and
with Simin, actually. That's how we met.
At UWS. Now, after doing it for 1 year, Zainab decided that that's not what she really wanted to do, so she decided to do Bachelor of Law and Bachelor of Communications in Social Inquiry at UTS. So we're here to speak to these two lovely ladies about why they made decisions they made and what it means to actually start a career, and in Simin's case, actually finish a degree and then decide this is not what I really want to do. In Zainab's case, take a dramatic turn, not even halfway, like
dramatic turn.
I mean, it is pretty dramatic going from science background to arts and law. So yeah, we're just here to chat about this topic. So Simin, we'll start off with you. You actually finished the bachelor. Now let's just take it a step back. When you finished, you graduated from your HSC. Did you know what you wanted to do with yourself?
I had a vague idea that I wanted to do medicine in the end, but due to various circumstances, I couldn't go straight into straight after high school, which is why I thought, okay, maybe I should do some. I was always into science, and in high school I did biophysics and chem, so I thought I'll go something that's related to science. Well, I was tossing between medical science and nursing because medical science would be more theoretical.
I was just going to say,
so,
often people do science or medical science, and then
exactly.
Yeah.
But then I thought that if I actually really wanted to do medicine later, I thought I'll find out what it's actually like to interact with people, and nursing would be the best avenue to actually get to work closely with people and actually to see if I actually like working in that environment, which is why I actually decided to do nursing. And so as I was doing it, I actually quite enjoyed it, and it was a lot of hard work. But then again, at the back of my mind, I always wanted to do medicine, so it kept creeping back in. And even when I was doing nursing, people would often ask me if I wanted to do medicine. So I was even if patients on the wards would start, even if I'm checking their blood pressure or something, they'll ask me if I'm going to study medicine later, which is quite actually weird because I was actually doing all the jobs as a nursing student. So it was always there at the back of my mind, but I never got around to do it. So I actually finished my course because I thought it would be good to have a full degree before I actually move on to something else. But as I was ending my course, I was like, no, I want more challenge, and that's when I decided to apply to medicine.
Simin, you finished a university degree and you weren't burnt out, you wanted more challenge.
Exactly. It took me a while to figure it out, but the thing was that after I got in, I thought since I started it, it's better to finish it rather than trying to go elsewhere and not liking it as well.
So how do you think doing that undergraduate degree of nursing helped you now in your medical degree?
Well, it definitely helped me a lot. I would not have it any other way, actually, to be honest with you. For example, just the interaction with patients and just the interaction with the rest of the staff in the hospital, it did put me ahead when I started medicine. So many of my colleagues, I wouldn't say lacking, but bit apprehensive, with the environment and not knowing where things are, not knowing how to interact with the different allied health groups. So that was definitely a big head start for me.
And even just basic skills, for example, like you said, taking blood pressure and just that sort of thing. it crosses over into
exactly.
like, medicine.
So a lot of the skills I didn't have to learn from scratch. So I kind of knew that from beforehand. And in terms of theory as well, like I had basic idea as well. So that was.
Well, Zainab, with you didn't actually finish the degree after the first year. You decided wasn't what you really wanted to do. Now, usually people kind of do things, and then when they get to that stage where they've done a whole year of it, they're just like, oh, whatever, I'll just continue with it. It's a pretty dramatic decision to change from, science to arts/law. What made you change?
Yeah, but when you think about it, I mean, a degree is 5 years long. I mean, that degree was 5 years long. I mean, Simon's degree, for example, nursing degree was 3 years long as opposed to 5 years. And
so by the time you were questioning, it would have been halfway, so you're like, I might as well.
Yeah, and I guess with medicine, as anybody would know, medicine is a really full-on degree. You need to sort of be in it like 150%. To get through it. It's not the kind of thing you can just sort of sail through and not really care about what you're doing. So I think that's an important thing. Like, if you're
But was it a hard decision for you to make in terms of should I leave this altogether? Or, you know how a lot of people kind of loiter in their actual degrees. So, for example, you see them at uni for like 10 years, they're doing just one subject at a time, or just, like people loiter, people don't actually leave, but you made that dramatic decision of leaving and changing. Was that a hard decision to make?
Especially when it was so hard, like so competitive to get into medicine and finally making it there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, all those things play on your mind. But I think at the end of the day, like, I think I read an article somewhere where it says that people of our generation will have, like, maybe 4 or 5 career changes in their lifetime. So it's not like, you're locking yourself into a death sentence, like when you change degrees or when you decide to change. You can always go back. You can always do something completely different altogether. I mean, I'm only, like, 22. Okay, I know that sounds very old to some of our younger listeners. But, I mean, the world is your oyster. Alhamdulillah, we're living in a country where educational opportunities are just open to everybody. So I don't think any door is ever really closed.
Okay, can I just take you both back one step? What was your actual initial motivation to do the degree that you did when you actually left high school? So, Simon, you said that you always wanted to do medicine. That desire, that want to do medicine, where did that come from?
Well, my dad was a pediatrician, so I would hear his stories, and that actually initially got me interested. And then I would also visit him in hospital sometimes, and so I just liked the whole
And did you feel
idea.
like a personal connection to the degree? So it wasn't something that you just kind of wanted to do because you thought,
Well, I wasn't 100% sure because at one point I was thinking, is it because my dad used to do medicine, which is why I want to do medicine, or is it really it's something that I wanted to do? And this discovery I made through nursing, so it's been quite a big journey since then. So.
I think that's the thing. A lot of people face family pressures to go into a certain path, but for you, at least you managed to sort of try it out, try before you buy, sort of thing, and so you knew that this is what you really wanted to do. Whereas some people, it's like kind of just expected, like, okay, if my dad was an accountant, I'm going to be an accountant, and people even have like family businesses which they're expected to enter into, and so there can be a lot of pressure on people, which sort of prevents you from making an independent decision.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of, and sometimes although people will not acknowledge the influences on them, so they'll say, no, this is my decision, subconsciously that decision does stem from a range of factors, and that's not something we can necessarily control. So you might be thinking that this is something I really want to do, but subliminally, there are a lot of influences. So whether it be, expectations of society, of your community, your family. And I think this is something that's often brought up in conversation. People from migrant backgrounds, often their families have come to Australia to kind of, find new opportunities and better themselves in every way. So there's an immense pressure on children with parents from migrant backgrounds to kind of take it to the highest level of education, because for them that's the only way you succeed in life.
And then for them the highest level is like, medicine or law, engineering. That's why we have so many people in our community who go into these professions. And for example, if you want to do an arts degree, it's like, oh my God, people just think this is crazy. Why would you want to do that? And remember Mihail wrote, I don't know if anybody saw in Daily Life last week, Mihail wrote an article in defence of arts degrees, saying education can just be for education's sake.
So Simon, now you're in your last year of uni, so you're looking at graduating. Now, when you actually start being practicing as a what do you start
intern?
As an intern?
Yep.
Okay. Now, do you feel like that kind of gap between theory and actually getting out there in the real world and being employed, has that actually influenced or changed your decision at all, or do you think no, this is what I've actually wanted to do?
Well, the thing is, our uni is very practical based. I mean, since first year we've been going to hospitals and and being on the wards and actually doing the jobs that's required of us to do. So it's not really that different. Internship wouldn't be that different to what we are seeing on the wards every single day. So yeah, I feel prepared, I would say. But even then, like, it's also quite scary because this is the first time you can't use the excuse I'm a student.
Yeah, and I don't know.
So yeah.
But I guess it's a bit different to say studying law, for example, because it's only at the end of your law degree, at UTS anyway, that you have to do your practical legal training and you get to see what it's really like to actually work as a lawyer. And so law for your whole degree pretty much is theory-based, which is quite different to medicine. And a lot of degrees are like that. It's completely theory-based right up until the end.
And I think that's when people actually realise, I mean, a lot of things theoretically sound pretty nice, or you'd actually like to learn about them on a very theoretical level. But when you actually think about it, I'm going to be doing this for another, 40, 50, 60 years of my life.
Yeah.
I think that's when people get that realisation of this is not what I want to do. But then again, how do you actually, this is another topic but related, how do we draw the line between something that we want to do as a career and something that we want to do as a hobby, ancillary to the career? So, for example, a lot of people might be interested in, for example, say, helping people at that medical level, right? So although they might be like, I don't know, say a pharmacist, they'll volunteer their time to, say, for example, visit hospitals or, visit nursing homes and things like that.
Yeah.
How do you make that fine line between this is something that I want to pursue as a career and this is something I want to pursue as a hobby? Or, for example, another example can be like someone that really likes painting, right? But their family's like, no, you have to be a doctor, right? So they're like, okay, I'll do painting as a hobby rather than a career. How do you determine that?
I guess you have to think that if it's the kind of job you can do every single day for the rest of your life. And if you actually think that you can do that every day and with passion as well, like you can't do a job if you don't have passion for it. So if it's just a hobby, then you do it once in a while. But if you think about it, that
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, like, as I was saying before, I don't expect to stay in the same job. Like, I might start off practicing as a lawyer, then I might go into something else, then I might go into something else. Like, but with medicine, for example, that's a very vocational degree. Like, you go into it for the profession, whereas a lot of people might do a law degree just because they want to get into government or they want to get into policy, so many different areas. And so I guess it just depends, like, how flexible your degree allows you to be.
Now, from your experience of people who graduated with you in your cohort and things like that, what's kind of, I don't give me percentage figures because you haven't done research, right? But do people usually kind of get into a degree and stay with it, or in your experience from your friends and colleagues and things like that, do people actually make that dramatic career change while they're still at uni or TAFE or college or whatever?
Well, Well, I only know Zainab, but nah. My brother actually, he's on his third degree now. So he's done a Bachelor of Accounting. Worked for 2 weeks, found the job really boring, figured out he did not like a desk job, and then he started doing policing. And while he was doing policing, so he had these assignments where he would go to the courts and hear the proceedings and all that. And while he was doing that, he found that he had an interest for public prosecution. So, and after that, so he finished policing and started a degree in law. So there you go.
And he's currently doing his degree in law?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. See, the thing is, though, I think my key issue is, like, I mean, I'm doing, social inquiry and law, and I've had a couple of jobs over the last couple of years. For me, there's that fine line between getting into it thinking, oh, I don't like this, and kind of persevering and liking it eventually. I mean, with anything that you kind of get into, initially that whole change aspect or things that you're not accustomed to or acquainted to, you kind of feel uneasy. You feel like, you really don't know what you're doing. But when you give it time, I guess, you start liking it. But I guess some people might just know from the outset, no, I'm never going to like this, versus I might become acquainted with it over time, and this is something that I might be able to do in the long run. So I think that's a very hard, I mean, there's no clear-cut answer to that. And I think for anyone out there who's considering career changes, it is that very fine line between perseverance versus...
Yeah, I mean, nothing ever goes to waste. Like, as Simon finished her nursing degree, maybe she could have gone into medicine after doing 1 year of nursing. But, I mean, it did eventually help her in her medical degree. And so I don't think any degree ever goes to waste, even if you think, oh, this is so unrelated to what I did before. It'll always give you some kind of skills you can use in the future.
And I think to the young people out there, don't think that it's the end of the world world if you do have a couple of
that's
career
right.
changes. And you only realize that when you're actually at uni or college or TAFE, because you'll be sitting in class, you'll have like a 40-year-old, a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Once we actually in law, we had this lady that honestly looked 60, right? And she had just started, it was her first year.
Wow.
So I think when you're...
Yeah, we have a couple of those in medicine as well, so imagine.
Yeah. But the thing is, when you're doing your HSC, you're getting out, right? You feel like I can't even waste a month of my life. Like I'm going to fall behind everyone just because everybody around you is kind of in that rat race, right? So it's like you get your marks that year, you must enter, you know, whether it be college, TAFE, uni or whatever it is, you know, you graduate within a certain time frame, have a graduate job by the time you finish your degree. And, you know, you don't realise like that's actually, it's pretty good if you can manage to do that, but that's not what everybody does. So I think the take-home message to our listeners would be, it's okay if you don't get it right the first time, and it's all a learning experience. And then, as our guest would say today, like, do you feel like actually, as you said, you wouldn't have had it any other way?
Exactly,
completing another degree. So I think that learning experience is really important.
Definitely is.
All right, guests. Any concluding?
I'm not a guest.
Sorry, Zainab. Simon, any concluding
Simon's our special
remarks
guest.
just to our audience?
Well, I know it's very hard for people to pick a career, but try to get workplace exposure as early on as possible so that you know what the real
100%
job is
agree.
actually like instead of,
And I think with getting real like life experience, it makes you appreciate the degree.
Yeah.
And I think, for example, especially with like degrees like law, where you're learning highly theoretical concepts, until you've actually seen it applied to a client, applied in a case, you don't even concentrate at uni. But then when you kind of see, oh wow, this is how you just start concentrating in class. You
It all
love
falls
your
in
degree.
place.
That's
Yeah.
right. So I think it's really, really important. Zainab, any words of wisdom?
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it all. But yeah, as I said, like, I don't think that you need to think, oh, what am I going to do until I'm like 80 years old? You just need to think, what do I want to do right now? And then when it doesn't work for you anymore, then do something else. I mean...
All right, guys. Again, Simon, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries, pleasure.
No worries. Okay, we're going to take it to a short break. You're listening to The Y Factor on 87.6 FM.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
All right, guys. So that brings us nearly to the end of the episode for this week. I think it was just interesting to hear from the young people about what they had to say about their careers and speak to some people who actually kind of had career changes. So the take-home message is, don't worry, HSC is not the end of the world. Study hard, try hard. We're not telling you to be complacent, but don't let the pressure become, you know, too overbearing and, you know, immense. And just know that at the end of the day, you know, life is all about change and trying different things and learning to do what you love and, you know, enjoying what you love. Now, just to reiterate the questions that we did announce earlier, and these were for the double pass giveaways to the MEF Aid Festival, which is on the 2nd of September. So that's this weekend from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Fairfield Showground. Again, the MEF team have been kind enough to give us 5 double passes as giveaways. So whoever can email us to the yfactor@live.com.au or Facebook us at the Y Factor 87.6 FM. The answers to these questions, one per person, limited to one per person, you will win the double pass. So the question says, number 1, name the 10 people who are promised paradise. Number 1, name the 10 people who are promised paradise, and this is obviously during the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ's lifetime. Number 2, which blood type do mosquitoes favor? Number 2, which blood type do mosquitoes favor? Number 3, which ayah mentions more than 4 prophets in the same ayah? Number 3, which ayah mentions more than 4 prophets in the same ayah? Number 4, where do the two branches of the Nile meet? Number 4, where do the two branches of the Nile meet? And finally, name the names of all of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's children. So finally, name the names of all of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's children. So get in and get in quick. And as Mabina did mention, it's going to be an amazing festival, inshallah. You can also buy your tickets online this year at mef.com.au, so meff.com.au. So make sure you do that so you can actually avoid the queues. Now, just before we leave it there, we do want to have some election coverage in the next couple of weeks. Now, there has been some debate about, elections, who to vote for, especially in the local. Some of the candidates going up are honestly pretty shocking.
It's strange because I feel like usually nobody even cares about local council elections. And this year, I feel like there's been so much campaigning and so much controversy around it. Usually we wouldn't even notice it.
Some of the local candidates are very controversial. And it's interesting because usually people would kind of toe the very, diplomatic, we don't want to air the dirty laundry line. But some of the candidates seem to be very, very aggressive in their Facebook campaigning, having some really strange and outrageous views, and it seems like it's attracted a lot of tension and hostility. So I do hope that, in the elections it doesn't actually eventuate into physical, a physical battle, because
that's
honestly,
a grim prediction.
No, because if you've read some of the Facebook groups about some of these candidates, especially like in the Auburn region and things like that, some of the candidates have said some outrageous statements, and a lot of people are really annoyed with this, and even to the extent that reports are being made to the police, death threats and things like that. So why Factorians, let us know your thoughts on the elections and who you'll be voting for, who you won't be voting for, and
secret vote test now.
Oh yeah, donkey vote, don't vote. Let us know your thoughts on voting, because honestly, sometimes we do complain about things when they get to federal level, but if we actually start to care and actually invest a lot more energy and thought into local elections, when it actually gets to the higher levels, then we wouldn't have the shoddy politicians.
Yeah, but some people would say it's the job of the local council to look after roads and garbage cleaning, and they shouldn't be getting their hands into like international politics, for example. I mean, look what Marrickville Council, when they did that whole boycott of Israeli products, they got a lot of criticism because they said, you're meddling in things which aren't your concern. So.
But not even before they get to, I'm not talking about they should, deal with international things at local stage. I mean, they might. I'm saying these people eventually, some move up to state and some move up to federal level. So, it's important for us to actually know who we're actually voting for, and just, make informed decisions about the candidates that will be representing us in our localities. So yeah, that's some election coverage. Just let us know your thoughts, and hopefully the Y Factor will have a couple of segments and interviews about this in the near future. So I think we'll leave it with that. This was the Y Factor. You had Tasneem and Zainab as hosts today. If you've got any questions, comments, feedback, suggestions, ideas for upcoming episodes, any events you'd like us to announce, or any initiatives that you want us to cover, please let us know. You can shoot us an email at yfactor@live.com.au, or you can Facebook us, and that's the Y Factor 87.6 FM. And if you're kind of bored and want to, join the discussions, you're more than welcome to join our page. There's always lively discussion going on.
Too lively, some would say.
Sometimes too lively. I mean, we'd thank our members, our Y Factorians greatly, but sometimes we just need to tone it down and just remember, our manners. So we'll leave it with that, Zainab. Y Factorians, thank you so much for listening. You were listening to the Y Factor on 87.6 FM.
When the prophet turns and he smiles, radiance and spreads out for miles, embraces his hand with kindness and care. His heart sings out for all those to hear. أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع. Wakes up, alarm clock is ringing. Moonlight, the sun hasn't risen. Faint sounds of cars on the street, but inside his heart he feels peace. He starts recalling history, the prophet's face he had seen. He remembers then the tradition. Truly